Welcome everyone. You're here with the Montreal Marketeers. Now I gotta go inside voice because we're in a library. Gotta stay quiet.
It's gonna be very hard for you.
It's very hard. I'm already shaking of excitement here to talk with the Montreal girl bosses.
Hello.
About marketing and how they started Montreal Girl Bosses, along with their podcast and many other topics. I don't want to spoil it, so I'll let them talk most about it.
So just a warning for everybody: if you hear Vince screaming at one point, someone will be punching him to lower his
Yes, absolutely.
It's very important.
And no banging of the tables, just because it'll make tons of noise and all these echoes and everything. Okay, Matt, are you okay now? Are you stress-free today?
I'm
Inside
stress-free right
voices,
now.
everybody. Inside voices.
Okay. Then I'll take off the
glasses.
The glasses. Let's get started.
Let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
Oh my god, HQ, hello.
Oh, we just did it. I just played it yesterday.
Really, I love
Yes.
it.
Love
It was
it.
like a $3,000 winning. Or
Yeah, I'd
whatever.
make it to question 4.
It's
Question
crazy.
Yes,
it.
the best I've done was question 6 or 7.
Yeah,
I
me
did-
too. That's
Yeah.
the best
At
I've done.
B's 10.
Yeah, she's gone really far.
Oh, yeah.
She's
Okay, so to start this off, if you guys play HQ, we'd like to know how far you've made it.
Yes.
Which question
I'm
link
very
have you
curious.
made it?
But the problem is, Vince, you don't play alone. That I've
I
seen.
always try to cheat. I
You always-
tried to okay Google, okay Google.
Me too, I've done that
and
too.
put the mic.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. It's hard. It's
Yeah.
hard. That or you have someone who's fast
Yeah.
to type or can
Even that,
search
it's
it.
10 seconds. It's impossible.
It's hard.
It's really
and
hard.
the counter starts exactly when he's asking the question.
Oh, yeah.
So it screws you royally.
Because you
Exactly.
don't even hear the end until,
Yeah, you have like 4 seconds to actually process it at the end of it.
yeah. It's really bad.
So Sam, Zoe,
What up?
how did you guys start Montreal Girl Bosses?
Or maybe introduce themselves.
Well, it's true. Introduce yourselves. You know who
Vince,
you are,
you're
what
really
you're all
out of your
about.
element,
I know,
huh?
because I feel like I want to yell, but what you're all about, and we'll start from there.
Cool. Sam, you want me to go first?
Yeah, you go first.
Okay. I'm Zoe. I quit my job about a year and a half ago. I worked in restaurants for 4 years, and I always knew I wanted to be my own boss. I was never okay with waking up and just not loving what I do. So I knew that I had to just follow my passions, but it took me a long time to figure out what that was exactly. And then when I finally figured it out, I was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm just gonna go out, do it, get my feet in the water, and just kind of see what happens. And then, yeah, I did, and I'm here now.
Very cool. And what would you classify as your passion?
I've always been really creative. So
Okay.
I've always been a writer. I've always really been in tune with that. But definitely my passion is meeting people, talking to people, connecting people, and just bringing together groups of people that could support each other. That's kind of my vision in terms of Montreal Girl Boss. So at the end of the day, our goal is to bring together different entrepreneurs, whether female or male, and see how they can help each other. So when we're in a room and we see a bunch of people that we actually brought there and they're connecting, it's
So
my
fulfilling.
life is fulfilled. I'm happy. I go home and I'm yes, I'm doing my job and I'm happy.
Was there a
pretty much
point
it.
that in the restaurant business you thought you could achieve this? Or did why were you in the restaurant business to start off with?
Honestly, it was a job that I had gotten to when I was young, and it was kind of a cycle that I was in, and I was just fed up, and I needed a change. And to be honest, at first I was looking to before I started my own company, I wanted to kind of go get a job in corporate and learn the ropes of social media, maybe get a social media marketing position in a big company. And I did apply for jobs and I just didn't hear anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept saying I'm gonna eventually start my own company, I'm gonna do it, I just want to get that really that experience in the corporate world before I do. And then when I didn't get anything back, I was you know what am I waiting for? I know what I'm doing. I'm just gonna go for it and see what happens. And that's exactly what I did. And
Okay.
it happened to work out.
Very cool.
Luckily.
And Sam?
My story. I'm gonna try to
It's
keep
long.
it. Yeah, I'm gonna try to keep it short. So, my background is in sciences and math. So I started pure and applied sciences at John Abbott College as I was working full-time in management. At 16, I had my first management job, and by 18, I was managing 35 employees.
Nice.
Yeah, I loved it so much. I realized that business was really what I was kind of looking for, and I had never actually experienced it. So as I was experiencing management and kind of doing my science degree, I realized that I wanted to transition into business in the future in what I didn't know at the time. Long story short, I got an opportunity to work at Via Rail Canada in marketing. It was incredible. And it was something that the offer was like, you needed a degree and 10 years experience to actually even be considered. And they're offering me that at 21 years old. So I was like, you know what? I'm totally accepting this. School is still important. So I actually ended up leaving sciences and enrolling at John Wilson part-time in management. From there, I ended up moving to Toronto and literally doing what I thought would be my career. So I was the leisure event planner for Via Rail. I was having so much fun. I was organizing like poker events on the train. I was like traveling Canada. I was getting crazy cool experience. And I guess I'll talk about this, it's important. I moved in with my uncle at the time, who is the NDP leader, Jack Layton.
Okay.
And he was like such a huge influence in my life, but eventually he ended up getting diagnosed with cancer and getting really sick. So because I learned sciences, I actually started making embody products for him just so he can use them going through chemo and stuff. And what ended up happening is he literally started advocating my products to the hospital, and my first business was born overnight. Wow. There was a demand in Toronto at the time for natural stuff, and I was like, holy shit, I guess I need to kind of sustain these orders. So it was really freaking cool. Was still coming home for Monday classes, going back and forth for 3 years straight. From there, it got to the point where I was sleeping 3 hours a night, and I had to make a decision on whether or not I would pursue Via Rail or my first company. So I have 4 companies. So my first company, so I ended up deciding to pursue Sugar and Spice full time. Moved back to Montreal, so the West Island of Montreal more specifically. Created a 72-page business plan. Realized that obviously social media was the most lucrative component. That was also my background. I actually started all the platforms at Via as well. So started at the time what was supposed to be a simple Facebook page to compile local customers. And it created, I started What's Up West Island. And from there, created networking events, my own events, because I loved planning events from my experience. That completely snowballed more so than Sugar and Spice. I had to hire 4 employees over the first 4 months. Did that for a long time and became somehow an online face as a leader in Canada. So because of that, I was then approached by a travel company to go out to Jamaica last year to like go blog, to talk about how I...
Very cool.
Yeah, it was really, really sick. Sorry, I'm almost done. I know I'm talking for a long time. Sorry.
So his face.
I could tell this story though.
Yeah.
By myself.
I'm trying to keep it like...
No, I know, you're
Don't
doing
worry,
well.
don't
You're
worry.
doing well.
So went out to Jamaica last year. Supposed to be a fun little cool experience. From there, connected with the owner of Jamaican Tourism who wanted to start a What's Up Jamaica. He's like, hey, can we replicate your platform? And I was like, that'd be cool, but you know what? Like, I don't want to have too many projects going on. Like, I need to focus. So I was like, food for thought, maybe. It was also a different market too. Like, you're targeting tourists there, whereas what I've experienced is more local. All I have to say, I came back home exactly a year ago, beginning last May, and there is a request to start 2 What's Ups in Ontario. Long story short, I've started franchising my What's Ups. I'm creating community platforms across Canada. We're going international in the fall, and we're setting up local marketing hubs to keep the community connected through PR, blogging. That being said, how Zoe and myself met is we were hired by the same company. I was hired to do the digital strategy. She was hired to do the social media. And from there, we kind of completely clicked, and we started compiling our own followers of like girl bosses. And that's how our PR company started. So that's my 4th company, which we've co-founded together. So yeah.
Very cool.
So it seemed for the both of you, you just seem to just go with the flow.
Yeah.
You're not scared of change or just imagining, well, I'm doing this now. This might be risky or a lot of work, but let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So like looking at it like that, like right now when you have 4 companies for yourself, co-found a company together, are you still looking for more in the sense of finding, like where are you positioned now in your mindset of what am I going to do with my businesses and in the future?
Yeah, so right now my struggle is actually I'm getting all these opportunities and I'm saying no to like 95%. I used to say yes to everything that comes to you, but now it's kind of like I need to focus and do it efficiently and effectively and properly. So I'm done. There's no more company starting for me. Absolutely not.
The only thing is like for us is like where Montreal Girl Boss is right now is like we're in our first year and like we're kind of within Girl Boss, we're trying things like we're thinking of like starting a notebook line or like a clothing line. Like we don't really know where it's gonna end up, so we're kind of just like in a sense we're going with the flow in terms of Montreal Girl Boss. So like it's still a baby and it's still growing and it's changing. And we're just like super excited to see what happens. And like in terms of Girl Boss, whatever opportunities we kind of get, we usually do take them.
And I'm just gonna reinforce something. For me, when I made the decision to do Girl Boss, because it's been not too long, I realized that I was doing it because it was something I was passionate about, not because it was going to be another business and I would have to sustain it. It was literally like, this is my fun downtime, is doing Girl Boss, going around, vlogging, having fun, going to events, starting notebook lines. So for me, this is actually my passion. So I know it's going to freaking work, like for sure. So, yeah.
So it wasn't like, I'm doing this to make money
Absolutely
or I'm doing
not.
this to monetize, because that's the main question everyone gets, right? Is like, how are you gonna monetize this?
Yeah.
How do you make money? And it's like, well, no, it's not the long term gain. Or is it the short term gain I'm looking for?
I just want to say one more thing about that is actually Girl Boss was not supposed to be what it is.
No.
It started as actually a podcast, and it was just like two friends just like shooting the shit, whatever. And people started asking us to go to events and to like represent their brands together. And then we were like, you know what? This could be so much fun.
Like,
and
let's turn this into a business.
Yeah.
And then before we know it, we're a registered company.
Yeah.
And I was like, yay.
So how does that turn into being a PR agency, I guess, or media platform? Why PR?
PR because like we just love talking to people and we love meeting people and like connecting people, like I said. And that's kind of like our outlet on how to do it. And we just want to be honest with people. That's like our 100%. We're transparent. We're honest.
Real.
We have nothing to hide. We're 100% real. If I'm telling you I like this product, or I'm telling you this food is amazing, it's because I mean it, and it's not because I'm being paid to say it. It's because I really feel that way. Like when we go into a meeting to meet with a potential client, if we don't feel the vibe,
We'll say no.
We're gonna say no, because it's not real. We want it to be real. I feel like now on social media, everything has that like fakeness to it, and it's not 100% honest. And I feel like that's kind of what we bring to the table. That's a little bit new and different, that where we just want to be 100% open with people and honest.
It seems for both of you kind of mesh Montreal Girl Boss with your personal brand. Like it's one in itself.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It
That's
is.
100% what it is.
It is.
Some people don't get it. Like even my friends and family, they don't really understand what I'm doing. They think I like run social media pages, and I'm just like, no, that's not what I do. But like it's okay, you know. Like I try to explain it, but at the end of the day, people might think like, oh, like what are you doing? Like, are you even making a difference? Like, and like my goal is I want to make a difference. Like I want to do something that makes a difference. And what is this? You're so...
To talk about it.
Okay, we'll talk about it after.
I love it.
But making a difference. Like
No, but by making a difference, I mean like
This is so
like bringing something.
I look at a mirror right now.
Bringing something new to the table, like something that's never been done before. Like we're two girls doing this together. You don't really see that often because a lot of the times it just doesn't work, and it doesn't come across well. But for us, for some reason, it just works.
we're
like,
yin and yang.
Yeah,
She's the
doesn't-
black one though.
I don't even understand what I'm saying. But like it just works. Like to be honest, I never thought that I'd be able to partner with someone and like do this with somebody else, but it just happened and it works.
Yeah.
And
It's so fun.
it is fun.
Yeah.
So we talk about complementary skills, and it's something even for us we get a lot better. Like
Yeah.
I'm starting to see a theme, and I think that's why he's laughing.
Yeah.
He's the talker. He'll go up in front and do everything, and it's like, oh, all the tedious tasks. Who's gonna take care of it? I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. I enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't get it, where it's like we went to an event recently,
Yeah.
and it was a networking event, and not my thing. I'll talk to people, but I'm not gonna go up in front and go say hi to everybody. Like, not me, him. Oh, let's go. I don't know this person. Let's go say hi who it is.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like go do your thing.
No shame,
And then we'll
Meet
together
back
it'll
up.
make sense.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm guessing especially from building something from scratch, how much does that play an effect into like who decides, who takes the lead on what? Like how do you guys manage that?
Well, Sam's super busy, if you couldn't tell.
Yeah.
She runs like I don't know. Like I don't know how she does it. She doesn't sleep. It's crazy. So I pretty much I'm like ops manager of Montreal Girl Boss. But other than that, we do everything together. Like all the decisions are made together. Like, and for the most part, we like agree on pretty much everything.
Yeah,
I would say.
we do. We
No?
do. Yeah, we have a very similar mindset. And we also, it's nice because we both have 2 sisters.
Yeah.
We're both from a family of 3 girls, and we just kind of get like how it works. And sometimes you actually have to give and take, and sometimes you don't always get your way. And I feel like we just get that. And another thing, maybe we'll delve into this later, but we've had a lot of struggles as well with real girls and trying to make things work and partnering, to the extent where actually like we've been excessively bullied over the past few weeks, and we actually like went on air on the news and stuff to talk about it, and we're creating a movement. But yeah, in terms of like complimenting each other, I feel like it really has to do with like that back, like growing up childhood with having those sisters and stuff. So yeah. And also just to reinforce what Zoe was saying, we don't do things because we're getting paid to do it. Obviously it's a business, so obviously we monetize what we do, but we are completely real, and we will say no if something doesn't feel right. And I'm just going to put an example out there. Tonight we've been working with a really awesome comedian for a while now, and he invited us to a show, whatever, all good, whereas there's another comedian who actually wants us to go to his show tonight, and he was going to pay us. And we haven't experienced him yet at all. But the thing is we're loyal to our first person, not paying us, never will. And we've actually decided to say no to the second one to go with the first one. So that's just kind of to reinforce we really are raw and real with what we do. So, yeah.
So this is when the rawness of it and the realness is very important. What do you purposely try to broadcast that to people, or you just want it to naturally come out? Like, what's your strategy with that?
100% natural. Like, because if we're like, hey guys, we're raw, we're real, like that's so fake.
Not real.
You know what I mean? Like, I think it's in all the things that you don't say, and I think it's better not to say things and just let the chips fall where they may, and like kind of let people feel your vibe, and the truth always comes out in the end, and I truly believe that. And I think that
they'll figure it out.
Exactly.
They'll figure you out if you are.
Exactly,
If you are fake.
100%. Yeah, they'll figure you out 100%.
Yeah,
so
it's
if you're
not
being a fake ass bitch, they'll know.
Yeah. Okay, interesting, cool. And then why Montreal Grow Bosses? I mean, I know it's maybe there's an obvious choice as to why you chose that.
Let's say this in one sentence. What is?
What
is? And in one sentence, as clear as possible. You have to tell what is Montreal Grow Bosses. You have 2 seconds to say what it is. What is it?
Like, what is a Montreal Girl Boss, or what is Montreal Girl Boss?
Both, actually.
Yeah, I like that. So elevator pitch as to what is Montreal Girl Boss.
Oh my
right?
God. This
the
is
company,
like our
the organization.
worst question.
Yeah.
We get it too, by the way.
Never know.
No,
We
sure.
never know. I'm like,
and
Sam, what do we do again?
Yeah.
and the reason I'm asking that is because we
Yeah.
went through a change in terms of like sitting down for like a good 4 hours a few weeks ago one morning and just literally reconstructing our
Like
vision.
the why.
Yeah.
Why
the
we're
why.
doing this.
Yeah.
And I'll give you so this way you can ponder your thought as I'm answering your
Yeah.
question as well for us. But so we came down to it. We answered it as it's really freedom. Like if we had to break it down to one word, even that's what we did. We said let's break it down to one word. So we kind of drawing lines
I
to
know that word.
everything, and we said okay, freedom. And they're like, what does that mean to us? What means that we can work anywhere we want, wherever we want, how we want.
And the funny part we came to this is we had a long-term goal. Like I love wine, and I'm like, well, one day it would be nice to kind of have a vineyard or do consulting or whatever it is, like the long-term goal. But like,
cool.
but is it that important? And we're like, no, it's not. But why are we putting that there? And that's how we came to freedom, because that to us is we can just be ourselves.
It's an onion, right? Peel back
Yeah.
until you get to that raw. What's that core of everything?
Right. Yeah. So what's our word that you supposedly just came up with, and I have no idea what it is?
I'd say our word is...
Can you whisper it to me so I can decide whether I agree or not?
But
Yeah.
so I would say that like the
Yeah,
strongest
okay,
word
okay,
to
yeah.
describe what we do is happiness.
Yeah.
And I would say that maybe our mission is to actually hold hands with everyone.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Not higher, lower, hold hands.
Yeah.
Do it together. If it doesn't work, it's okay.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
I just made that up, so.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. That's
Cool.
good.
That's it.
That's
Okay.
good.
So
Connecting is.
Yeah,
you
like
mentioned
building a community is like that's.
because I see there's the no bullying aspect that you just mentioned before. So
We've been through
I
some
can see.
stuff
Yeah.
that kind of made us get to this point.
Mhm.
But like when we started, it was always in the back of our heads that this is what we wanted. And there was like a light bulb moment for me that one time we like were somewhere, we were doing a shoot, and there was like a bunch of people there that we had brought there, and seeing them
Yeah.
connect
Yeah.
was like, okay, that's it. Like
Yeah.
this makes me happy. Makes me feel good. Like I'm good.
And we had actually already discussed that one day we want to have like maybe a panel with entrepreneurs or self-starters, And to be honest with you, I thought about it last night. I feel like that was kind of like my motive to make sure that I did my first panel yesterday. So I was like freaked out, as I was saying before. I didn't want to do it. I don't public speak. And in my head, I was like, I need to do this because I actually see Girl Boss doing something like this longer term. Maybe even one day having a show or something. So I was like, you know what? I just need to freaking do this.
Yeah.
So you mentioned, a panel of entrepreneurs. What is an entrepreneur to you guys?
Somebody who is a leader. Somebody who chooses happiness over anything else. So they're not going to choose to do something because it's making money. They're going to choose happiness, follow their passion, which will in turn generate, because people at the end of the day will see that they're in fact real. And somebody who's true to themselves and to the closest people around them. And that's it.
So happiness in terms of following passion.
Yes.
Yes.
Like just doing what you actually want to do.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Also, I was going to say something before you said that when we had said holding hands, you're like, so connecting. So yes, but also not necessarily, because I find sometimes when people connect, they're actually going to like use people as stepping stones.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, and I think it's important to connect, but also maintain that foundation and be there regardless of who's kind of propelling quicker than the other. So
So a question for you.
Real connection then.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
You
it.
Now that you're building more and more hands to hold or connections,
Yeah.
it must be harder to maintain the longevity of a relationship,
It's
right?
absolutely been my biggest struggle since becoming self-employed. I've gone through friends, I've trusted people, I've given people leads, I've ended relationships that I've been friends with people for like 15 years. It's really hard. But when you find those solid people, which I've reinforced close-knit friends that I know they'll be lifelong friends, made new friends that will be lifelong friends, and gotten like connected with new movers and shakers and girl bosses who are similar to me, who have been through that. Like all those people for me, like those are my people. Everyone else, unfortunately.
You see it as like a
Yeah.
support community for everyone that's in it, and you guys who started it. Is that what it's turned out to become as well?
It's more like I feel as though we've just, so there's like friends and then there's business friends, and usually you can't mix the two. And it's kind of like you have to learn to differentiate both, because when you leave your work, you just want to go and chill and have fun. And if you're with friends that you do business with, you might like
End up talking about work. or
and
talking
it's
about
just you don't have your
business.
downtime.
Yeah.
So
So how do you guys do that amongst each other?
I don't know.
We do.
It's bad. It's actually the opposite. Because we'll be like, okay, we'll be driving somewhere. We're like, okay, we're going to do this in the car. But we end up talking about nothing related. We're like singing, listening to music. And like, I'm like, we get there and I'm like, shit, we didn't send that email, or we didn't do this. And I was like, oh. So it's like the complete opposite.
But what I find too is cool, because example tonight, like I said, we're going to a comedy show, for example, and we're going for supper with like two of our friends. We're going to go there and just chill and not do work, but we're going to still be Instagramming. So we're kind of still working, but it's because it's our Instagram. Like, it's just what we do. We love it. It's our real life too. So
Yeah.
I guess. But yeah, I don't know. It just works with us. But just like it obviously works with you guys.
It's, we have in the end we have fun. Like we promise ourselves.
That's the whole point.
If we don't have fun, if we stop having fun, we stop.
Yeah,
No,
that's
the-
it.
Which market
The one difference I would say between how you guys seem to work and us is a lot of you guys agree on a lot. We disagree on everything.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
And the good thing about us is that we're the type of people, like, we both yell at each other all the time, but not with the purpose. Well, yeah, deep down we want to win as well there, but with the purpose of like we actually value each other's opinions,
Yeah.
and we actually want to like grind down. Like, okay, you're
What's
thinking of it
the
this
word?
way,
Yeah.
and we're purposely gonna try to shit on each other
Yeah.
to bring in like that element of like, did I think of everything?
Yeah.
The best final product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
That's
always
it.
with the end
Yeah.
goal of like we're not fighting, like you're fighting me so I can understand.
Be better.
Love
And
it.
It's like almost like if you take it to a sports kind of look, as well as like if you play any sport, hockey, basketball, you always play someone that's better than you
Yeah.
at doing a certain aspect of that game. Well,
Yeah.
then you're challenging yourself to improve as well.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the same thing.
Totally.
So if he's more in a data mindset, well, challenge him because I can learn.
Yeah.
And he'll challenge me and from a sales angle or talking or networking because he wants to see what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So it's honestly it's very interesting because we brought up a lot of topics here,
Yeah.
and it seems like it seems to me like Montreal Girl Bosses is somewhat of a movement in what you guys are positioning in it, because you talk about like what you value in life and how you think business should go around it. And so for you guys, like what's the end goal? Like what would, if Montreal Girl Boss achieves this, you'll be happy. What is this? Like what's the end goal of where you want to reach?
Sisterhood, but I say that, but brotherhood too.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like I'm just gonna say for me it's weird. I'm so much more compatible with guys. I'm very logic. I'm a chess player and poker player. Like
Okay.
math, I'm very guy. So when I say sisterhood, it's weird, but like guys too.
Yeah.
So a community? I don't know, maybe.
Like a community, like
Yeah.
I said, a place where entrepreneurs could go for advice if they need help, or maybe like to connect people, like, hey, I'm looking for a makeup artist, do you know any? Or hey, I'm looking for this, do you know a good one? Or do you know any like that you could recommend? Even someone who's just starting out and like just needs that boost to kind of like propel them into something. And like you never know, it's all about connections, and it's all about talking to people and getting to know people, and like connecting with, like actually connecting and making real life connections in order to kind of make a difference in whatever it is you're doing. Or even personally for yourself. Like, you never know, you might meet someone and they could change your life, you know, in like the best way possible or in the worst way possible, you know what I mean? Like,
I think we just, at the end of the day, want people to trust us.
yeah, that's it.
That's it. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
And now I want to touch a bit, now that we learned, you know, how Montreal Girl Bosses came about and how you guys met as well, I think there's also a negative view on PR agencies in general. Like, I think there's been so much kind of, I'm not going to say the word fraudulent because it's not exactly the right term, but fake PR in the sense of, oh, I've hired this company and they told me they'll just release content via their network of publishers and their network of magazines and so forth. That's not this. You guys are actually creating the content from scratch.
Exactly.
And growing. Yes, exactly.
No, but yeah, exactly.
Vince just got told off, by the way.
And
I want you to
Montreal Girl
understand-
Bosses, you're right.
Boss.
Sorry, boss. Right, boss.
I'm going to share a story with you.
Yeah.
There's someone we interviewed.
Wait, I want to hear that story because it's a good one. But let me finish the PR.
Shit, we have to be
So
quiet.
yeah, it's true. Right. So
I might do a live.
So no problem. So PR wise, what do you guys provide as a service? Like, what does it mean for someone to hire a PR agency today in 2018?
Well, for us, I feel like we're not like the typical PR agency, because what we do is like we're promoting these companies or businesses through ourselves. So it's like we're the faces, we're almost like brand ambassadors, where we kind of go and we, let's say, eat at the restaurant, and we'll just be like, hey guys, we're here, you know, like just FYI, they have some new menu items, we're gonna try some today, like come check it out. Or if, you know, one of our companies is Little Shop of Wow, they have like little gift boxes, and it's like such amazing cute stuff, and like we'll just kind of have it with us and like use the products and be really genuine about it, where it's like, you know, they're with us, the products we're actually using them. It's not just like a picture, here's $5 off, or here's a coupon. Like, yes, sometimes we'll be like, hey guys, there's like a promo happening now, check it out. But it's just because, you know, that's kind of part of the game, that you have to say those things. You have to, it's to let people know. It's not like I'm forcing this down your throat. It's very just like this is our life. These are the products we use. This is where we go to eat. And like, either if you enjoy it and you want to try it, if it like clicks something in your head, you're like, oh, that does look good, I'm gonna go check it out. We're doing our job.
So is this a bit of a PR with a bit of like influencer type of marketing as well? Is that
what it is? Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like we're PR strategists and blogger/influencers. So like we're like micro influencers, like niche influencers. I hate the word influencer.
Me too.
Because
I
like
don't like it either.
I actually
Yeah.
despise it. Like
Yeah.
I try to avoid calling myself an influencer. I'm like dancing around the word. I'm like, I really don't want to say it. But I mean, I guess if you have to put a term on it,
it's a term that
what
majority of
we
people
are.
understand.
Yeah.
It's not an influencer as in, I'll take it from my perspective, I'm in a bathing suit, 6-pack on the beach.
Yeah.
Hey,
hey,
no,
check
like I'm
it
the
out.
farthest from that, you know.
Yeah,
I'm a can
exactly.
short of a 6-pack.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
reality.
That part
So,
especially.
yeah.
No, but like
Exactly.
for me personally, I just feel like influencer is kind of a term that's maybe looked down on. Maybe not within the
almost
influencer
like big-headed,
community.
though.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm an influencer.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But like, no. I don't feel like that. I don't want people to think that. So when I'm called one, I'm just like, it's almost like I feel like a bad word. I don't
What did you
want
just
that.
call me?
Yeah, like, I'm
Yeah.
not an influencer.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's good for us in terms of like, I'm reaching more people. That's what's important to me, like, and that way when I have something to say that's like about a real important issue to me, like bullying, for example, or anxiety, for example,
that we sit on.
or we sit on a committee for the Leukemia Lymphoma Society, that too, so we can, you know, get the word out about that, have people come to the event, you know, so like in those moments I'm like, I'm happy that this is what I'm called, I guess, but at the same time I'm just like, I feel people don't necessarily take us seriously when you say like, oh, I'm an influencer, you know what I mean? Because that's not all we are.
Yeah.
I don't want it to just be like, you're an influencer. I'm a business owner.
I would
You know
say
what I mean?
that influencer maybe has a bad connotation to it because everyone is striving to be that and have those followers, and it's like, it's not about the likes at all. And I feel like the majority of those people, those like-minded, let's say, people who are trying to kind of tap into the market in that way, they actually don't have the experience or the tools or the knowledge on how to actually do it properly.
Right.
And for the most part, like, unfortunately, a lot of it is fake.
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily convert the traffic or whatever.
That's it.
And I think in our case, we are definitely called influencers. And I think it's maybe correlated to being a leader, to be honest with you. And I think we could say hands down that we are both leaders, as are pretty much everyone we work with as well. So I think that that's kind of like more of how people would
Yeah, I don't know if I'm
depict
making
us.
any sense, to be perfect.
No, you
You
are.
are.
No,
You
you are.
did. You did.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know if I'm
the
making
The
any
next question I
sense.
was gonna ask is like, how do you take like the examples of the boards that you're on as well, or the companies you work with? Can you give the audience an idea as to, okay, if they just started something special, passionate about, you know, if they're podcasting or if they're starting a new notebook company, or so, how would you recommend they go about, you know, starting that PR, that content site? Because content's so important. Like we say content is king, but content's king every year.
Absolutely.
Right? Now content comes in different forms: video, audio, quality pictures,
Written.
and so forth. Written.
Yeah.
And now there's so many different aspects to content as well.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
take social media. The common question we always get is, do I do everything? Like, Vince, do I just literally open up every single account and just go? No, you don't have
No.
time to. You gotta.
You have
Yeah.
to
Focus.
find where your
Focus.
audience is, find where you're getting the most response from people, and focus in on that aspect. If
And I would
it's
even say-
Instagram, it's Instagram.
And I would say even more so, if you have to focus on one, do the one that you even personally
Like better.
enjoy. being
Yeah.
part of.
Because it'll come out and it'll
Naturally,
show.
yeah.
It'll show on
Exactly.
your pages.
So what would you recommend for this, let's say, notebook company ABC that's coming out and having a different vibe?
Instagram 100% and Facebook definitely.
And how would they work
What are
from a
like
PR aspect?
What are the
they-
prerequisites you need
Yes.
to pull it off?
So-
And once you have those prerequisites, how do you actually go?
Yeah.
How do you actually do it?
Honestly, my advice, it's going to take time. It's going to take years to perfect it and actually know how to do it. Like we were saying before, you can go to school and learn all this stuff. You need to experience it. You need to go through the learning curves, and there are a freaking lot. And most people will give up. That's why they say 90% of businesses fail within the first 3 years. It takes 3 years to actually build it to where you need to sustain your cost of living by experience.
Yeah.
So trial and error, learning on your own, not giving up, making mistakes, seeing those mistakes as opportunities to learn. But yeah, just focus and self-teach yourself. And yeah.
There's one point we were talking about where, you know, when we're actually pushing or promoting something that you believe in,
Yeah.
do you have a certain internal rule of, I'll produce this much content of myself or Montreal Girl Boss versus promoting something? Is there an internal rule you use, or you just go with the flow, or like, no, I've been pushing a lot of stuff? Because a lot of people, I feel,
I have a bit of there's like I guess a process to like, we do it like by week.
okay,
So basically like Mondays we go to Baton Rouge for dinner. So Mondays is like Baton Rouge Day / like whatever else is there. Like if there's a contest happening that we want to like let people know, like check it out, or
What's
if
your favorite thing about Baton Rouge, by the way? What's your?
it's hard to pick.
Everything.
They actually
We're
have a new item.
obsessed.
It's called crispy shrimp, and it's so good.
Yeah.
The crispy
Like
shrimp is
everything.
so good. Like it's stupid. Like
Just
I had
not
it
lemon
yesterday.
water.
No
Gin.
lemon water. No lemon water. Wine and beer.
I would get wine and beer.
Inside joke. Inside joke.
Yeah.
we'll
What was I
talk
saying?
about that after the podcast as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. Wait, what was I saying? I forget now. Oh yeah, okay, so like the strategy of like how the week kind of goes. So like each day is kind of like specified to each client essentially, and like I'll just like spend that day like devoted to that client.
Yes
for
and no though,
example.
but now we're getting
like
we try.
we have more clients. Like
right.
Yeah.
So like
It's
obviously
snowballing.
like at a point like we have to, we can only take on so much at one time. So like we'll kind of do our best, do what we can for that client in that time frame, and then see at the end like what's working, what's not working,
Yeah.
and maybe like not continue with them because we kind of like exhausted it to our followers, let's say, and then kind of start with somebody else and like kind of like let them do their thing, and maybe we'll come back to them after, see how it worked, if we did really help them and if they grew. Like for example, we had that, you want to go?
No,
Okay.
I'll stay after.
We were working with a gym and like we did our stuff for them. They're like doing amazing.
So
They're
well.
doing so well.
Yeah.
And like we kind of like, they didn't really need us anymore, I guess.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of like, okay, like amazing. We
Yeah.
shook
It served the
hands
purpose
and-
of the objective
Exactly.
was done.
Yeah.
If you utilize all the other companies, the sister,
Yes.
like
Yes.
Yeah. So
that's how you. It's a big.
Yes.
It's a big.
So basically, Montreal Girl Boss is essentially a sister company of WhatsApp World. So we kind of use WhatsApp's platforms to
Yeah.
kind of plug our clients depending on where they're located.
Yeah.
So let's say the business that we're working with is an NDG. We'll plug them on WhatsApp NDG in order to kind of get more traffic for them in their area.
Yeah.
So for example, for Baton Rouge DDO, WhatsApp West Island, we do Foodie Fridays with them, and we'll promote them on WhatsApp West Island as well. So it's kind of like a whole machine, like a cog, I guess, in a
Yeah.
machine essentially.
And just to like reinforce like your question. Wait, do you mind repeating it just so I make sure I answer properly?
Which one?
the last one.
Vince, do you remember?
Okay.
I'm like completely.
Okay. Oh yeah, strategy stuff.
I was just saying, yeah.
Oh yeah. So
Oh, yeah,
basically,
strategy.
so how do you more native content, I guess, about yourself or about how you see the world versus actually plugging something or promoting
Right.
something?
Yeah.
Like, do you draw a balance internally?
Okay. That's the question I was gonna go into.
No, but you go on that tangent because
Yeah.
I know exactly because that
Okay.
was when we were first talking is like how do you take that notebook, right? That ABC.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
like,
that
you're gonna state that's what it is.
Yeah.
So you're gonna take it as you're gonna work with that client not only
Yes.
on your platform, but you're gonna also create content for them on their website. Maybe you're gonna tell them, how come you don't have a blog?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we should write about writing.
Yeah.
Because your notebook ABC, right,
Yeah.
or whatnot,
Yeah.
or it's tied to a certain vision or brand. If it's bullying is a focus for the month, maybe you incorporate that into your notebook and so
Yeah.
forth. So how do you do that? Like, what's the tactic behind that? The strategy?
Well, I was gonna say actually, in terms of like strategy in general for like a company, which I find is with Girl Boss, it's different because we are really the eyes and the ears and the face of it, and we want it to stay that way. Like obviously, we're gonna have to, as we grow, we're gonna have to hire and outsource tasks and such, but we're always gonna be the face. Whereas, for example, my WhatsApp World, I realized there's just way too many things to do. There's like so many hats that like if I was doing it myself, I'd have to wear. And it's important to learn what your focus should be and what you're good at. Because if you just focus on the good thing, it's like forget it. It's gonna do so well. Whereas if you're doing tasks that you're not as good at or as efficient at, example in my case, like I can't answer emails for my life. I'm just like so drained. Like I have to go and write like 3 paragraphs. Like absolutely not. So I've actually learned to find the right heads and learn to delegate properly and find the people that are specializing in that. And I find once you have those people in place, plus you have to make sure they have the right mindset too, and they're not just working for you to use you, which has happened enormously for me. Once you have those heads, like you can just focus on the growth and what you are in fact good at. So yeah, strategy I would definitely say is learning to delegate when the time comes. And yeah.
So let's go a bit further on that.
Yeah.
When you talk about like working with people when you hire your hiring process.
Yes.
When you is it give people a chance at the beginning and then decide afterwards, or it's you take a lot of I want to know for sure at the beginning if it's gonna work or not?
Yeah.
Like how do you go about that? Like is it a beginning thing or let's try them out and if it doesn't work but just cut it and find someone new?
Yeah, so it's interesting. So I do have 12 years of management experience prior to working for myself. I started managing at like 14 actually. And at the time when I was working for somebody else, for me it was lucrative to always kind of put the company first, obviously. So I would say no easily and yes easily, you're not the right fit, you are the end. Don't take it personally, it's business.
Yeah.
Whereas when I started working for myself, I almost knew how fun and cool and successful things may become. So I almost brought friends into my realm and gave them opportunities and was trying to be nice and like, oh, you can work on your own when you want, whatever. And it's just like, it did not work. And I just realized that over time, in fact, if I say no,
I'm in my mind, like I used to think like I don't want to be rude or be like talked badly about, but you know what, it's actually legit business.
Yeah.
So your question was, sorry.
Would you rather, do you take more time hiring at the beginning, or do you just leave it to let's try it out and like cut out the person if it doesn't work out?
That 3 month
Trust.
period.
Yeah, even 3 months, 1 week, 2 weeks, whatever it is, like how important is, because I feel like a lot of people, like once they've hired, they've decided and they're going to go on with it even if it's not working longer than it should be.
Yeah, because you're investing the time at the beginning to train them.
Yeah.
So my point was I hired friends, I gave them 100%, 100% trust, and they would lose it. All of them, all friends except for this one, lost it to zero so quickly, and it was a waste of my time, my pay, my energy. Bad things would be said about my companies at the beginning, whereas now they come in, they have 10% trust. That's it. That's all. They have to earn it.
Yeah.
And I am harsh now.
Okay.
But once they surpass it, oh my God, you have all my trust, you've earned it, and I will freaking reward you, and you're gonna be like on cloud 9.
And are you looking for people that, this is another interesting, we talk about this a lot, like when you want to hire someone, are you looking for someone that has the drive and not necessarily the experience,
No.
but like their experience, but not necessarily in that realm specifically?
Yeah, no. Honestly, experience is not the dominant factor at all. I would actually say everything can be taught and trained and coached if you find the right heads. So no.
It's based on attitude.
That's it.
Yeah, I would agree too.
Yeah.
That's kind of what
I've
Even
never
when we
hired anyone, so I don't.
well, even when you're working with people in terms of even customers and so forth, like I'm sure you
Yeah.
choose who you want to work with to a certain
Yeah,
degree
exactly.
as
I've
well.
fired customers before.
Yeah.
That's it. If,
We have,
you know,
yeah.
I've heard before where someone's told me like, okay, Vince, like I want to attain these goals, these objectives. I really, I just want the customer to come in, buy, and leave. Like I don't care less.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm sorry, like we can't work because I'm not like that. Me personally, whenever I buy something, I talk about it. Whether it's Maui Jim was one of my favorite sunglasses, or this restaurant here. Or that, I enjoy what I'm buying as well from their storyline, their brand, and the owners. So I find it very hard to work with someone who doesn't have that passion. So it's just it's not going to work because we're gonna misunderstand each other.
Yeah, a lot.
100% of the time.
Yeah, and lose energy, and it's not fun.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, it's very interesting to see that you've created all these subsets of businesses, and you're kind of utilizing them under the one umbrella as well.
That's it.
So I would say what would be the biggest thing that both of you have learned from this experience? What's the one thing that you'd say, oh wow, this was a big learning curve, or this is something I really overcame?
Yeah, like even either in a positive or a negative way.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Like let's say like one positive experience and one negative experience that has changed your business for
the better.
For the better. Yeah.
Okay. Negative.
Oh, starting with a negative.
Usually we're so optimistic and positive.
Yeah. But so we just kind of went through something.
Okay.
Yeah.
We were in a video about the West Island, and it got a lot of negative feedback.
It went viral.
The
Really
video.
quickly.
I'm not even gonna mention what we did it with because I don't even talk about them.
Yeah.
But it was really hard because we were bullied hardcore. Like people were saying awful things, like they wanted to punch us in the face, or
We should hang ourselves.
We should kill ourselves. Yeah. It was really.
My gosh.
And these people are writing these comments. Their profile pictures are right there. You click, you see where they're working. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're
What
smart.
do you mean? So anyways, it was really hard, and I took it harder than Sam because
I've been exposed to it for 5 years.
yeah, I'm like
This is not your first rodeo on
But
this one.
I was bullied as a kid, but I never thought I would be bullied as an adult, especially when I'm finally in a place where I'm happy and I'm doing what I love, and for people to come in and kind of just you're bashing us because of the way we talk and that we sound like Valley girls, and that's why they were saying these horrible things about us, and it just kind of really put a strain on my feelings about what we were doing, and if I was doing the right thing, if I was on the right career path, and it started to make me question a lot of things, and that was something we definitely overcame. It took me a little bit of time to kind of get over it and move forward and turn it into a positive, but I think that everything that came from that was definitely a positive. We learned a lot
About our support system. The people that have our backs and the people that do not have our backs, and
It was almost like black and white immediately.
it was so obvious, and people who came to our defense, and those people, thank you so much to them, because I really just, it was a bad time. It was a really bad time. But yeah, we kind of overcame that, and now we went on the radio and we talked about it. We recorded a video about it, and like it's gonna come out soon when we like launch our anti-bullying movement, because I think that in this day and age, everything's online. You put something out there, it's there to stay. Everyone can see it, and you don't realize the effect that you're having on people. Even like people, you should go on like celebrities' pages, and the stuff that people go and say, it's like they just like use it as an outlet, but people don't realize there's a person on the other end reading this and seeing it. My family could see that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't realize the effect that it really has, and it's crazy that people don't care. They literally don't care. They see you on screen and they just see that and they don't think beyond. They just see what's in front of them. They don't think like, hey, that's a person who has feelings and a family and brothers and sisters and this and that. And like, you don't know what's going on in their lives. Like, I think it's disgusting. And I was so like,
honestly, sorry you're saying this. I'm realizing though, like I know this, but the person who has the actual problem is clearly the bully.
Yeah.
Like stuff that's radiating out of them towards the other person is because it's internal issues. Like I reached out to a few people who were nasty at the beginning, trying to like see like, hey, what's up? Did I do something?
Yeah.
And one of the girls literally told me, she's like, I used to be you like 10 years ago. I was growing and I was an influencer too, and then I got sick and I couldn't do it anymore. So learn to deal with it. And I was kind of like, oh, so you're bullying me because you were following the same path, and now I don't know if it's envy, I don't know what it is, and I have these as screenshots, but it's like I'm realizing the problem's actually the bully,
of course,
and the victim's not the one who needs the help.
It's the bully.
There needs to be a support group for bullies, like really and truly. I feel like something needs to happen along that line too.
And I also feel there's a stigma on the word bully, because automatically you think bully, you think like children, elementary school, but in reality, it's
absolutely
not the case
not. It's
at all.
And adults are the ones who pretty much like reinforce like anything.
I was gonna say a kid doesn't. It's not born with hatred.
Well,
it's very interesting.
It's
He
tough.
has to learn it.
It's tough.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that
where does he or she get it from?
There's a lot of people that talk about bullying in school, and when you hear adults like talk about it, it's like, well, you think it's bad in school,
Right? But
wait till after.
Like
Like
it only gets worse,
Yeah.
and you're like, you're telling kids like, oh, it's gonna get better.
No.
It's gonna be fine.
Yeah,
Don't
she
worry.
literally did a video for an elementary school a week or two before.
Talking about my experience
Saying,
with
"Oh, it
bullying
gets better."
as a kid.
Yeah.
And then this happened maybe like 2 weeks later,
But
which is like so
do
crazy.
you feel as while on the subject, like as adults, I feel a lot of people kind of mask who they are because they just don't want to be judged and they don't want to put themselves out there. And the people that embrace who they are and go out, like there's no more middle ground. There's people who are gonna love you and there's people who are gonna hate you.
But those people who mask, honestly, I've realized it's because they're in a 9 to 5 that they absolutely
That's
hate.
what I mean.
They're going with the flow because that's what norm is. Like you finish high school, you go to Stasia for 3 years, you go to university 3 years, then you work for a startup, and you finally your goal and your strive is to be up that corporate ladder as soon as possible. That's what you're focusing on. But is that even like the industry you want to be in? Like are you just doing that because that's what you studied? Like I just feel like people don't get it and they don't realize when like, you know what, I'm actually not happy. Like I'm actually sitting here counting the hours to like the weekend to do what? To go home and be miserable because the work week's gonna start again. Like people I feel like they need to step back. Sorry, I'm clearly heated about this. They need to step back and be like, what is it that makes me happy?
I think a lot of people just don't know there's an actual out.
Yes.
Because
Maybe, yeah.
No, I'm saying I also want to continue this conversation. I'm tapping because I know you want to also interview us for possibly your podcast, and I have a few things I can't wait to talk about it. On the bullying side. But I want to make sure we also have enough time in this room to be able to interview them as well.
Actually,
so to add that, okay?
You want to wrap this up because we have
because 20 more minutes, and I want to be respectful of the next people that come in.
For sure.
And we'll for sure obviously do this again.
Yeah.
Both of our
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
we'll get an environment where we can be louder next time.
Absolutely.
I think that's
I'll
important.
put
Hopefully our
Our
office. Yeah.
You know exactly.
Yeah.
So
You have,
you have
to bring wine though.
oh, perfect. That's easy. That's easy.
Well, we're gonna be
It's
four,
easy
so
enough.
4 bottles.
That's it.
Done.
And some food.
Yeah.
Food.
And very important.
Yeah.
As a last question before you get your contact information and everything to the audience,
Yes.
but I want to know, we do everything in threes here as Montreal marketeers and so forth.
Yeah.
If you had to choose 3 customers to work with, now it could be anyone. Like I told you before, I really love Maui Gym. If I had to consult for a sunglass wear company, I'd probably choose Maui Gym. That'd be awesome. So as you guys, what would be those 3 companies you'd love to work with in the future?
Cool.
That would really be fun.
Cool question, dude.
Very cool. You?
3 each.
3 each.
We
Okay.
can
Yeah,
like
yeah, you have
spawn
to-
them off. Okay, my first one definitely Via Rail Canada
Okay.
in the works.
Oh, I'm next.
Go, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Shoot
go,
them
yeah,
off.
one back and forth.
I don't really know.
So you put you on the spot here.
Yeah, this is really hard. I
I- you
guess
know what?
like, but for me, it's like more like working with people. There's like
Okay, so
certain
yeah,
which people?
that I
That's
wanna
fine.
work
Think about it.
with.
Think about it.
Well, you
Hey,
know,
you know,
obviously
you
my
go
number
for the
one.
next 2
Okay.
businesses and you'll think about
Okay,
the
go.
individuals.
The government of Canada.
Okay.
Okay.
A,
Why-
a specific
yeah, why
section
just-
or
yeah.
And my uncle was the NDP leader,
Yeah.
like I was saying, and my sister, Tracy, she's actually been working with NATO and the UN for the last 12 years. She's 29 and her career path has been freaking insane. She's impacted so many things from around the world. It's like really scary. She sits on so many boards, and I just find that people don't realize that you can actually, like, they see that as like so hard to attain, but if you like reinforce and prove yourself as to why you feel like you have a position doing some sort of change, it's really not hard to get in there. It's just about kind of working towards chipping it off to be able to make a change.
Yeah.
So definitely the government of Canada, for what, I don't know, but to create some sort of influence and impact on Canada.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 2.
And the third one?
Okay, I have one. But it's mostly, it's not really like a business or a company. It's like, I don't even know if this like organization exists at this point,
Okay.
but I definitely want to do something related to like mental health, mental illness, like, because that's like a huge part of who I am, a huge part of my life. Like, I have anxiety. I've suffered from anxiety since I was a kid. And like, I definitely would want to be an advocate for something like that and talk
Very
to people, young people, because like, you would think that a 7-year-old wouldn't have anxiety, but I remember having panic attacks as a 7-year-old.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something I would want to like
I love it so much.
do in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I have my last one. I'm obsessed with reading and writing, so honestly, Chapters in Indigo, like my dream.
Yeah,
Awesome.
for sure.
They've actually
Chapters.
already sent us books and notebooks,
Yeah.
which is cool, but
Yeah.
I really want to work with Chapters in Indigo.
Yeah.
That's my wish list.
Oh yeah, for
Very
sure.
cool.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna add chapters on there. Too.
Yeah, yeah.
Cheater.
Definitely.
Cheater.
I'm sorry. I'm She brought it to my attention.
Yeah.
But in
This is
terms
probably
of,
from there.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Actually, no, this
Yeah.
is from Marshalls, and I love Marshalls too. But that's a
Yeah.
side note.
Okay, so
Um,
you're third.
And my third, I guess it would be a person. Could it be a person?
Yeah.
No one's
You
gonna
make
know.
the
No one's
rules.
gonna know who she is. Anyways, I'm just obsessed with this girl. Her name's Claudia Autry, and she is like a co-host of like the show. It was called The Morning Breath. Now it's called The Morning Toast. There's like a whole online community that like supports them, and I'm obsessed. So
And I just want to make a point with that. It's a huge community. They have such a crazy amount of followers. They're amazing girls. They're so real. They have just like so much going on for them. And they had a random segment last like December or January where they're like, oh, we're going to kind of call out our favorite fans and people who follow us. Her name was the first one. And these people have so many followers, and that just reinforces how real and loyal Zoe is. Like, she doesn't just do something because it's going to get her somewhere. It's because she's actually, like, embedded into it.
Yeah.
And, like, the fact that she was called out, dude, and actually invited to go to their show is, like, actually insane.
That's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
Congratulations,
like
that's
she's
awesome.
like,
Yeah.
I'm obsessed. Like I would like.
And now you're
people
even more
ask
obsessed
me,
now, probably too, right? 'Cause it's
Yeah,
like, it
and like
reinforces
she
that.
knows who I am.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
it's
like
so
I
cool.
just think that she's someone cool and that like I would get along with, and like I don't know.
Yeah.
That's it. But yeah,
No, that's cool.
I'm cool. Yeah, I'm a loser.
I bought my favorite pair. I always say this.
Sunglasses?
No, favorite pair of, out of all things, underwear. at Marshalls.
I love
I've never
Marshalls.
been.
They
What?
had
I just
this.
bought such cute stuff from them.
Oh,
Maybe
they
after
have
this.
this. They had this brand, My Package. You heard of My Package?
It's all my boyfriend wears.
Yeah.
That's it.
We
That's the
so we
only thing he
interviewed
wears.
the co-founder of My
No.
Yeah.
Package, which they rebranded,
As
right?
Beneath
They
Apparel.
did? To what?
Yeah,
Beneath
My
Beneath
Package.
Apparel.
I
So
had
we're gonna
no
continue. We'll
idea.
continue this conversation now. So
Yeah.
so when I had to describe, because I told the individual, because we will interview someone that we feel like the brand is just so cool. So
Yeah.
we usually drink something, a bottle of wine or liquor that we really like, restaurant wise, and we said
We'll
we just
look
have to
after it.
find out
Yeah.
who started this. So in this case, I was like obsessed with the name.
Okay, so
packaging
you
of
understand
it.
how obsessed he was. He's telling me about this. He calls me. It's like
That's-
11 o'clock at night. He's like, I just tried on these honors. They're amazing. They're amazing. I go to his house. He's in his driveway. He pulls down his pants to show me, and I'm just like dying of laughter.
I bought the Under Armour too, like their style of like
Yeah.
for skiing and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm literally stripped down.
Yeah.
Like pants. I'm like, this is what I'm telling you, but this is amazing.
And I'm just there like, okay.
Doesn't the owner tell us what grew my business extraordinarily huge was when the Olympics came to Vancouver. They're out of Vancouver, and one of the athletes was stripping down
At a restaurant.
on a table in
And he
front
was
of all his
wearing it.
peers, and he said, "These are the
That's
best."
the but
So when they asked us, they said, "Vince, like, how would you describe
Yeah.
underwear?" I said, "It's literally like angels are holding my junk because it's so comfortable." Anyways, that's why
So
you're
my
wearing
parents
it. It's
can't
amazing.
get to go
It's
check
amazing.
it.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So how do people reach out to you now if they want to work with you?
At Montreal Girl Boss on Instagram. Really, like
Okay.
I'm on there 24 hours a day. So if you send us a message, I will get
We're
it
gonna
and
test
I
it
will
tonight,
answer you.
24 hour day. We're gonna test.
She's on it, dude.
Oh yeah, no.
We're
I
wine
think
tonight.
it's really
Yeah.
bad. Like it's really bad.
No,
but
it's
like
really
if you
good.
message us on Insta at Montreal Girl Boss, I will answer you promptly.
Okay, very cool. Well, thanks you very much for joining us today.
Thanks
We
for
appreciate it.
having us. Thanks for having us. It was
Thank
fun.
you.
Thank you.
We hope you liked this week's episode, and if you'd like to reach out to us or just want to simply check out our previous episodes, visit our website, MontrealMarketeers, that's with 2 E's.com. You can also download our weekly episodes wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.